The greatest people are self-managing. They don't need to be managed. Once they know what to do, they'll go figure out how to do it. And they don't need to be managed at all. What they need is a common vision. And that's what leadership is. What leadership is having a vision, being able to articulate that so the people around you can understand it, and getting a consensus on a common vision. We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did. But we're not necessarily those seasoned professionals, but who had at the tips of their fingers and in their passion the latest understanding of where technology was and what we could do with that technology, and who wanted to bring that to lots of people. So the neatest thing that happens is when you get a core group of 10 great people, it becomes self-policing as to who they let into that group. So I consider the most important job of someone like myself is recruiting.
We agonized over hiring. We had interviews. You could go back and look at some of the interviews agendas. They would start at 9 or 10 in the morning and go through dinner. A new interviewee would talk to everybody in the building at least once and maybe a couple times, and then come back for another round of interviews, and then we'd all get together and talk about it.
And then before we fill out an application.
No, they never filled out.
The most critical part of the interview, at least to my mind, was when we finally decided we liked them enough to show them the Macintosh prototype, and then we sat them down in front of it. And if they just kind of were bored or said, "This is a nice computer," we didn't want it. We wanted their eyes to light up and them to get really excited, and then we knew they were one of us.
And everybody just wanted to work, not because it was work that had to be done, but it was because something that we really believed in, that was just going to really make a difference. And that's what kept the whole thing going.
We all wanted exactly the same thing, and instead of spending our time arguing about what the computer should be, we all knew what the computer should be, and we just went and did it.
We went through that stage in Apple where we went out and we thought, oh, we're going to be a big company, let's hire professional management. We went out and hired a bunch of professional management. It didn't work at all. Most of them were bozos. They knew how to manage, but they didn't know how to do anything. And so if you're a great person, why do you want to work for somebody you can't learn anything from? And you know what's interesting? You know who the best managers are? They're the great individual contributors who never, ever want to be a manager, but decide they have to be a manager because no one else is going to be able to do as good a job as.
When you start to analyse your life, you start to question what is the nature of reality, what is the nature of truth, and it seems that there is more than one answer to that question. This isn't all reality. Who is it behind the eyes? When I think to myself, who's I and who's myself? How can I have a simultaneous subjective-objective experience in my own consciousness? Who's talking in there and who's listening? That's at least two people in every single human mind. I don't know, mate. I don't know what we're going to do. Luckily, you didn't live that long. It's good, isn't it, to just take the piss, because none of it's real. This is a little curtain. You come behind the curtain, you see that it's all silly. Go back behind the curtain and worry about death again for a bit. How long is there now? Maximum 50, 60 years, and then it's the old boneyard.
The atom is an illusion of matter. It's not real. It's an energy vortex. It's all like a nano tornado.
Einstein taught us E equals mc squared. Nobel Prize for teaching us about the theory of relativity. Energy and matter are interconvertible and transferable.
Do you understand E is equal to mc squared? So you say, well, on one side you have E, energy, on the other side you have m, matter. So Einstein said matter and energy are equivalent to each other. Are you going to call it matter or are you going to call it energy? So maybe a better term is mass energy. One word rather than mass and energy.
In 1931, Werner Heisenberg won the Nobel Prize for teaching us that energy makes up 99.999% of reality. We have our five sensory connection, our three-dimensional tendencies, so we're only able to see and perceive and connect with and communicate about and understand what we see and what we can touch and what we can feel. We don't go beyond that.
So in modern quantum field theory, the only reality is vibrations of energy. Those vibrations of energy are called quanta. They're called particles, condensed forms of energy.
Matter itself is made up of fields and energy. Energy is what makes things move, act, have activity, and fields are what give shape or form to the way the energy is organized.
And if we take a step further, it starts to clarify a much bigger picture. that we are electromagnetic beings, we're energy beings, that everything is energy. Diseases are energy, viruses are energy, bacteria are energy. There's a process, there's a dance that takes place between our energy and the energies around us, within us. When we lower our frequency, our energy, our verve, our life force, we run the risk of lowering our electromagnetic frequency into a range that harmonizes with viruses that are capable of affecting our neurological beingness.
Albert Einstein's very famous quote comes right here. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Energy is the sole governing agency of matter. Energy is the force that shapes matter. We've excluded energy from all the sciences because they were Newtonian. It doesn't mean Newtonian science is wrong. It's just a small subset of a bigger science called quantum physics. And quantum physics is the energy universe that we live in.
One thing that a number of healers say, regardless of their healing tradition, is they talk about information that is stored both within the body and outside of the body. The biofield is a set of interpenetrating and interacting fields of energy and information that guide our health. So you have kinesiologists and energy healers talking about how they can get information about a person's history, their memory, even their emotional state from informational fields around the body.
What's the definition of field in physics? A simple definition? Invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. I go, well, this is amazing because ancient word spirit is invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. Quantum physics is giving us the insight that spiritualists had always talked about without a scientific foundation. Now, there's a science of energy.